to go back to Connecticut and make the team. I think she really would have had a tough time coming in and making the team. So we ended up making the trade.
Was that more of a favor to her, just because you guys have so many players coming in? And
it is. It's really difficult, Odine, I think, when you get to the third round for a lot of the teams, and depending on what your roster spots are. And certainly, I mean, you know, there's a lot of great qualities about her that we liked. She's a Native American, which works in great here too with Arizona, but she can score. And we just thought that with all the other guards that we've got coming in and looking for a little bit more experience, I think that that's certainly an opportunity, I think, for her, and that's how we're looking at it, as an opportunity for her to go to Connecticut and maybe get a shot there.
Can you talk about Brittany and your thoughts on her?
Well, the coaches and I, she was one of our players that was on that list, the top list, as far as guards and wings, and you know, her size, and at 6'1", playing in the Big 12. She's so versatile, can shoot the three, gets to the basket, terrific rebounder, can block shots. Again, coming into camp, we've got some spots open, so she does have an opportunity to make this team. She's long, she can run the floor, so there were a lot of upsides that we felt that was a little bit different than maybe some of the other guards in the draft.
How many spots do you see being open going into camp?
Probably about 3. I mean, we've got 8 players signed, so there's 3 spots that are not under contract right now.
how many players, what's the number right now? How many players are actually coming to camp?
You can have 15 in camp.
15, okay.
And it's different this year because the league is starting late, so players will be off the European season. So a lot of the teams will have their players in camp. Where in the past, when players have been over in Europe and your kids that have been under contract, they're coming in late. So you can have, like a lot of those college kids and free agents, come into camp. And so you have a better opportunity to look at those kids. This year it's a little bit different because, especially with us, with the Phoenix Mercury, that we have so many kids signed. Those kids are all going to be in camp. So you only have so many that you can invite into camp now that have an opportunity to make those 2 or 3 spots that are available.
How would you describe Brittany's game? It doesn't look like she's a terrific outside shooter just looking at her college numbers, but she's putting up points. I mean,
she puts up threes. I mean, she puts them up. She's a 34% three-point shooter and averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, she was one of the top rebounders in the Big 12. And you got Brittany Griner and Danielle Adams in the Big 12, and she's averaging 8 rebounds. So we know that she is an effective scorer. And certainly any young player that comes into the league, they're not going to be playing 30 minutes right away, at least in our situation right now. You know, so we look for her to come in and really contribute and work hard in practice, and depending on how well she does, you know, we'll see what happens.
Would you describe her as a better defensive player than offensive player at this point, or is she more offensive oriented?
We're just, you know, again, watching her film and talking to her coaches and people that have watched her play. She's a great kid, and she's had some adversity in her life, and but she really turned the corner this year as a senior. And we just really like the way she played the game and handled herself. Again, there's so many kids out there, and you've got to make a decision. And we liked her length. We liked her size at 6'1", and being on the outside, being able to put the ball on the floor. And is she better than one or the other? I can't give you that.
Okay.
Not that because I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know until, you know, she gets out there and whatever, you know, a lot of the players have accomplished in college too. Well, Maya Moore might be a little bit different, or Vandersloot, certainly in that sense. But I think a lot of the players that go in the 2nd and 3rd round, they've really got to prove themselves, and certainly they've been very successful in their colleges, and we all know what they're capable of doing. But at the next level, it's a different role also, and so to say that she's a better offensive player than a defensive player, that's not to say that I think any kid that works as hard as, you know, whether it be Britney Spears or some of these other kids, I think that what happens in training camp and how they fit in, that's going to be important.
What are your thoughts on this draft in general? Just Any surprises? Anything that
The draft was a good draft this year. I think a lot of the teams got some top kids. Danielle Adams, somebody like that, really dropped, who was the MVP of the Final Four, and Sydney Colson from Texas A&M. But they both got selected, which is great. I think this is a tough year going into the 15th season of the WNBA. That my personal feeling is that I think veterans have a better opportunity to make the teams, even if you're a free agent. But there's some really talented kids coming out of college this year, and depending on what team they are with, the openings that they have, and the availability of those positions, it's going to depend on who makes it. As talented as a squad that it is coming in, it's going to be tough for a lot of the kids to make it too.
Can you kind of share your thoughts on the Mercury's offseason, some acquisitions, some changes within the roster, what you're looking forward to for this season?
Well, we're looking forward to win a championship. I mean, that's always our goal, and I think that certainly with the acquisition of Marie Ferdinand Harris, who's a veteran and played in Utah, San Antonio, and LA, I think she's got great experience being with championship players, and she brings a veteran leadership into the locker room and on the floor. And with Nakia Sanford being in Washington for all 8 years, maybe a time for change, but we really like her ability to play hard and physical, tough defensive player. Again, been in this league, a veteran player, and understands how to defend centers in this league. So looking for experience coming off the bench to really solidify the locker room and to make our bench stronger. So we've got Keisha Soigné and Taylor Lilly from last year's team coming back also. In training camp, we've signed some bigs and some guards that we like. And we also know, too, that because there's so many players, especially as mentioned about this draft being so deep with the talented seniors coming in, that players or teams are going to have to cut players. So there's going to be a lot of teams that are looking to see what kind of players get cut. That's always a possibility, and that's how we picked up Keisha Soigné from Connecticut. And so you may have to wait till the end of training camp, towards the end of training camp, to see what kids are cut. And if there's an opportunity that our coaches feel that there's other players out there that we covet, and maybe they're not going to make another team, that we might be interested in those players also. So it never stops until the season starts, and we want to get our team together as much as possible. But we think having 8 signed players really makes a difference, and having a veteran team and having Diane and Penny having some time off and being very healthy is going to be a big plus for us.
So with the 8 signed, does that mean Keisha and Taylor are not signed?
They don't have a guaranteed contract as far as that. But they're both under contract, but they both have to still try and make the team.
Okay. So the 8 don't include those 2?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, you guys.